Hello, this is Zion. I'm here with Chibirui, aka Von Maple, aka Young Homie Cole. What's up, Cole?
What's up?
So this is the national anthem you can hear. Quite beautiful.
Everyone is forced to stand for it because nobody's gonna be sitting on the street.
Indeed. So this is from this last Saturday. Would have been the 29th, right? Yes,
Yeah,
the
29th.
29th. So this is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin for their first ever 10K race. They've had marathons for, I think I saw 20 years almost. But this is the first year they ever added a 10K. They've had 5Ks for a while, it looks like, but this is the first 10K. As you can see to the left there, it says 10-minute miles. They have it set up where you can get into a row for your specific pace. I very foolishly thought I was going to be able to maintain 10-minute miles through a 10K. That did not happen, but I was optimistic.
I mean, you ended up pretty close, so I think you were in the right ballpark. You just weren't ready for the distance.
Yeah, I was relatively close, but yeah, we'll go over that over time. But so this was my first 10K, my first time doing a race this long. So that's, and I also didn't realize that they were going to have the specific pacing sections. So this was just me making a choice on the fly, saying, okay, 10-minute mile, that sounds average. I'm gonna do that. Also, I expected, so like at this point I already have my earbuds in. I'm already listening to music because I thought right when that song stopped, like right when the girl stopped singing the anthem, that we were going to start. That was not the case. There was
Someone shoots off a gun. Go.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a wait. Also, I'm not sure if they just like opened the floodgates and everyone started running, or if they did like specific groups at a time. Because we, at some point here, we start moving forward, and then we stop a little bit, and then we move forward, and then we just go. So I'm not really sure how that worked. I couldn't really see over all the people, but that's another thing I noticed while I was watching this back, is that my GoPro angle was not perfect. I had it aimed a little lower than I would have liked. I actually thought in the moment, like when I set it up, that I had it a little high. Ended up being the opposite, but that's okay. We got through.
Now you know.
Indeed. So as my first, so this was my first 10K, but it was also my first time at the Eau Claire Marathon event in general. Couple of things I want to say about the event. I was amazed by how like well organized everything was. Like normally going to these events, it's really difficult to find anything. It's hard to figure out where your packet pickup is. It's hard to find where the starting line is. Oh, is this where we go? See, right there, I think the first group went. I think.
Was this a race where you had to choose a time slot?
No. Actually, the way that it works, at least on like the score reporting and stuff, is it basically gives you your time from 5 p.m., which is when the race started, to when you ended, and then it will like also on the bottom of it, it like subtracts the amount of time from how long it took you from 5 to actually cross the starting line. It's kind of a weird way to do it, but
Whatever works, I guess.
yeah. No, I guess that it couldn't have been the first group, right? Because now that I think of it, on my stats, I think it said that I was 23 seconds after 5 is when my chip crossed the starting point. So it's definitely been longer than 23 seconds. About the event though, so packet pickup was super easy. It was a bit difficult for me to find a parking spot in order to go get my packet pickup, but that was partially my fault because I was running a little bit late. I knew I only had an hour until the race start, and I didn't have my packet yet, so I was like, I'm just gonna, before finding permanent parking, I'm gonna do my best to see if I can locate somewhere to park so I can quickly get my packet quick. Figuring out where to go for it was easy. They had these big banners. One of them just said 10K packet pickup up on the top. I was able to find it really quick. Just had to give them my bib number, and I was able to get it. Super well organized. Like, you can tell that they've been doing this event for a long time. The
mean, with the amount of people that you said went there, they gotta be.
yeah. So 332 people in this specific race, and there was a couple of, I think there was 5 events altogether throughout the weekend, and there was over 4,500, or at least they had 4,500 people signed up for the event, I think, is what they said. So a lot of people were here. Only 332 for this particular race, but this is like the least popular race, right? Like the most popular races are 5K and half marathon, and then the main event is the marathon. So a lot of people are here just for that. 10K is the least popular, which is probably why it took them this long to add it also. Yeah, I actually didn't realize it took this long for it to start. I wait.
See everyone getting antsy. And
Yeah.
cold,
They're all like
wanting to
shaking
move.
back and forth. Like, come on now. But so something I want to point out right away before this even starts. So it's snowing too, by the way. It doesn't actually do that the entire race, luckily. But here we start moving forward. So one thing I noticed when I did this race is the difference in the level of capabilities of the people that I was running next to. So in all of the 5Ks that I've done, I'm used to being passed by like the clear like giga chads in the race, like the ones that are just going to finish probably a half hour before I do type of stuff. Maybe not in a 5K, but at least 15 minutes before me. In this race, everyone's passing me. Like these are people, you can tell that most of them seem like they've at least done a 10K before. It didn't seem like there was too many newbies in this. I could be wrong. Maybe they just trained a lot harder, but I just get passed repeatedly, and it's something. And so in my past races, I've had a difficult time not trying to copy the pace of the people running next to me, which has always been like a detriment to my energy, because obviously it makes you expend way more energy than you should be. So one of my main goals going into this was to stay at my comfort pace, don't try and run as fast as the people next to me, and just try and maintain and retain as much energy as possible. And I did succeed at that, but that also is why I keep getting passed.
You were the newbie for once.
I was definitely the newbie. Here we go. We're moving up. So that's the 8-minute mile. Oh, how did I push up to the 8-minute mile by the start? Oh man.
No wonder you're getting passed.
Yeah, I did not belong here. Alright, here we go. Starts picking up slowly. Starts picking up. There we go. And there's my start time.
It is a go.
Awesome. So this is by far the busiest event I've ever been to for running. Most people. None of the 5Ks that we did previously were even close to this many people. Terrain race was quite a few, but not as much as this. So I get a little concerned when we go around this corner up here, because I notice that we're going uphill right away, and I'm like, oh man, you're gonna gas me out on energy within the first mile.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, I was a little concerned. Luckily, it's not too much uphill, and it was followed by a lot of downhill. The downhill, man, when you're doing a race this long, I didn't think about this beforehand, but the downhill is like your saving grace. It's amazing. The downhill is the best because it's basically active rest, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, you get to maintain that momentum.
Yep. You don't have to. Your legs don't have to do the work to move. So at this point, I'm still feeling pretty confident, right? I'm like, I'm sticking with the pack. I'm here. Nobody's running too much faster than me yet. There's a cow next to me, someone that's dressed up as a cow. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling real good.
Glad you specified that they were dressed as a cow.
But then this starts
It'd sound
happening.
weird out of context if they didn't see that.
But then this starts happening.
Everybody was just warming up, dude.
But then this starts happening.
Your speed is their warm-up speed.
Indeed. Indeed. You see, it's gradual, but it's consistent.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude, you're just falling behind.
And this is going to be a trend throughout this video.
I don't know, like, it gives me such a weird feeling seeing this. Like, it feels like you're being pulled back.
Indeed. And the worst thing about it too is I actually felt pretty good for the most part. I didn't like, you know, there's sometimes when you start a run and you're like, oh, this is just not a good day for this. I didn't feel like that at all for this. I was just outmatched. This was just more than I anticipated. Here's the uphill. When I saw this, I was like, oh man. So for a little bit of context, the first 5K I ever ran, that would have been 2020, right? That's when we did that first 5K for the Run for Their Lives. Yeah, 2020. So
yeah, 20.
Yeah.
I think I have the shirt right here, actually.
Yeah. So 3rd year of running. First year we only did the one 5K, didn't we? Did we do? Yeah, we only did one the first year.
Yeah, only one official one, and then we did some other practice ones.
Yeah. We did like some mock 5Ks for practice, but we only did one official 5K, and then.
Also, it was 2021, not 2020.
Really? Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess I would have left a year of a gap there then, because yeah, we
did start training in 2020 though. It was like right before winter.
True. Yeah, because we actually trained probably the most for the first 5K than we did for any race afterwards, right? Like, we actually trained pretty vigorously for that first 5K.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more than we needed.
Us going from not having been running for quite some time, me basically never, you taking quite a bit of a break. So we just like went from no experience to trying to actually get into running.
Yep. And then the following year, we did 2, right? We did Run for Their Lives again, and then we did Terrain Race, which was our first OCR. Or am I missing one?
I feel like we're missing one, but I can't quite remember. I don't know if we are. Was that all we did?
It felt like we did way more than 2, but I think we only did 2.
Maybe it was just the training we did for the 2 that feels like we did more. We gotta make up for that this year.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm still being passed gradually, but consistently.
Even uphill. That sucks, dude.
Yeah. This person in front of me, they got that Eau Claire Marathon rain jacket. Man, I want, like, when I was seeing people running with those, I was like, I'm going to actually go to the spot where they have all of the merch for sale, and I'm going to pick one of those up because I thought they looked awesome, and I realized during this run that I have nothing to run in specifically for rain. But by the end of it, I was just too tired. I ended up leaving. So next year, I'm getting one of those.
Okay.
Yep, it's a goal of mine. I'm going to get one. This bridge was pretty cool. I started getting a little bit anxious at some point because I noticed that there's like cracks in it, and I was like, "Ooh, what if one of my earpods or my iPads,
Oh
my
God, are you okay?
What if one of my iPods fall out of my ear and into the water?"
Man, a whole iPod, Jesus.
Yeah. What if my my iPad falls? That guy looked back. I think he had a friend back there that he was ditching. But yeah, this is a nice long bridge. The other thing about this event is whoever crafted this path really put a lot of thought into it, because most of the races that I've ran, you like look up at the scenery for like a little bit because maybe it's a place you haven't been before, but then you realize, okay, pretty much everything looks the same here. This is not a scenic run. But this one, there are so many different areas, like scenically, is that a word? Yeah, that's a word, right?
I think so.
I think it's a word, but you know what I mean. Like it's varied. There's different biomes, you know. It's just
Aesthetics. Are great.
yeah. There's a different mix of things, and you're running on different terrains and across different surfaces, and it's pretty cool. It keeps you interested. A little bit later into the race, it can be a little daunting when you see a piece of terrain that you maybe wish you didn't have to run over, but for the first half of the race at least. Oh, this is like my favorite part right here. This is the like winding snake road. I love this.
Oh, so that happens a lot sooner in the thing than I thought.
Yeah, it's right here. I love this spot.
I love that there's always someone ringing a bell.
Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Like, what a perfect spot to run.
Jeez, just shows how many people passed you.
A lot.
And are still passing you.
Yes, consistently. Like I said, that will be a trend throughout this entire video. Going back to a run history and what led us here. So we did 2 races in 2022, and now in 2023 I think we had established pretty early last year that next year was going to be the 10K year, right? I think we said that pretty early, that was going to be the goal.
Yeah, that was after like the first 5K or maybe the obstacle course that we were like, all right, 10K next year. Yeah. So we, I think this was maybe a little bit earlier in the year than what we were initially planning for, but it seemed like too perfect of an event not to sign up for. Obviously, you were meant to go as well. You want to elaborate on your absence? Death has decided it was my time, but apparently I lived, so there's that.
Yeah, you got sick literally at probably the worst possible time, right? Like, if you would have gotten sick at least like 2 days earlier, you might have been able to go to the doctors, get antibiotics, and you might have been able to make it. But man, this
I was
really
screwed no matter what I did.
This really bothered me here, because I was like keeping up with this girl in pink, and I was like, okay, this is going to be like the person I'm going to run by for a lot of this race. No. One of us ran out of energy at some point and slowed down. I'm not going to say who it is, but one of us did that.
I know your stats, so I'm curious about what if we can actually find said person in this video.
Yeah. So you were sick, on death's door, so you couldn't come, which means I had to drive 2 hours by myself. That was great. That's all right.
I mean, I offered to go, but I didn't want to get you sick as well.
And then get us kicked out from future events for getting literally everybody else sick too. Everybody gets strep throat. No, it
would have been because I died on the track. Let's be real.
that probably could have happened as well.
Oh man, you're actually passing someone.
No, not for long. Not for long. He's about to start running again.
Oh, I don't even think you fully passed him. That's a shame.
Yep.
Dude's just got that like speed walk gait, dude.
He does, yeah.
You're like full running, and he looks chill. He's just walking.
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm full running. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the only time during this entire race where I actually full run is the end. Literally, when I get off the bridge, from the bridge to the finish line is the only time that I actually like. And it's because you know why? It's because they literally had a sign. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it basically said, okay, oh man, what was the wording? The sign basically said, empty yourself out, basically. Just like use all your energy here. I can't remember what the exact wording of it was, but I read it and I was like, All right, it's that time. I had this girl that just passed me, and I'm like, I'm gonna at least beat her. I'm going to at least beat her. So I'm chugging. I'm right at the finish line, and I barely beat her. But I did.
Oh, so that's probably the one person then.
No, I don't think that she would have been the one person, because that was one person that I passed. I think that she started behind me. So I think that she almost passed me is what it was.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. So not the greatest of victories, but still a victory, and I'm going to take it.
It's okay. There was the old lady at the Run for Their Lives one that I did beat in the first time we did it, and then she beat me in the second time we did it.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you telling me that story. There's an older lady later on in this video that is a badass. She completely stunts on me. I don't know how far back she was in the starting line, like which section she started in, but man, she just like it's a little bit later on in the race, but she has such a consistent run, and she has to be 70 plus, and she just stunts on me. It's crazy. I'll point her out. She's in orange.
She was at the front, and then she was just doing her second lap.
Right. This older lady too. She's blazing. So you see her right now. This is where she's passing me. Later on, there's a part where you run past the group as they're running towards you, and she is so far ahead of me. It's insane. And she's running at a very consistent speed too. So my guess would be is that she doesn't increase it at any point. She just runs that consistent, and just blazes far ahead of me.
Old people are not to be underestimated.
No, at least when it comes to running, right? If you run throughout your life, it is one of the few like physical things that you can mostly maintain. Obviously, you lose some muscle mass after a while, so you're not gonna perform at your peak forever, but it's something you can accomplish for a pretty long time if you maintain it. I think running is absolutely one of those use it or lose it type of things.
Indeed. I know a lot of physical records, like specifically for a certain amount of something or like endurance things, are actually held by a lot of older people.
Yeah.
Like I think the most pull-ups done in a row was done by like a really old man, and like he just completely blew everyone else out of the water by like literal thousands.
Yeah, that's crazy. But very true. They got all the bells.
I wonder where they sell those bells. Was that in the merch aisle?
They might have. Honestly, so this is something I wanted to mention too. Next year for this event, and I think I already told you this, we need to plan to either go the day before, or we just need to plan a super early departure, and actually spend like a couple hours at the event before our race is supposed to start, because they have a lot of things going on, a lot of cool stuff set up. And I just got there too late to experience it. I thought I was going to do it after the race, but I just didn't have the energy. By the way, just look how far ahead that older lady is now in the blue. Just owning me. Just owning me.
Now you know my perspective when I run with you. You're the old lady, and I'm you in this scenario.
Yeah. That's pretty true. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I had that excuse of, oh, this just wasn't a good day to run. I could feel it from the start. It just wasn't good. But I felt good. Like, I felt ready for this. It was just longer than I expected. Like all of our training, like I said before, revolved around a specific training, time session, right? Like, we would run for 45 minutes or however long the next few are going to be. They have you run for a set amount of time, but that doesn't account for how slowly you're running it. So you might run for 45 minutes and feel strong, but it turns out that 45 minutes only would have gotten you like 3 miles through. That's not going to help you.
I mean, it helps you a bit. I mean, the speed work part of those, like the ladder ones, are supposed to get you up to speed, or at least close.
True.
But since we never actually finished it, I believe the longest they had you going was an hour, which I think was around your time. So like if we had actually completed the whole thing, like sickness like not happening, and we actually got through it, I think you would have seen much better times.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of training, I said I was going to mention this too. Anyone that's watching this that has considered starting to run and wants to do their first 5K or something, definitely download the app Runkeeper. It's what we used since that first 5K that we did. I think we used it. Didn't we use it a second time to train for the next 5K the following year too? And then we used it for this 10K. Like I think we use it in preparation for every race, haven't we? Except for the LCR,
yeah,
maybe.
I think for like other 5Ks, we just kind of selected which ones we wanted to repeat near the end to get like the speed work and endurance stuff in. And then it was perfectly timed that they released the 10K training thing when we were actually wanting to train for it.
Oh, that was a new release?
That wasn't there when we trained for the 5K, I don't think. So
I thought
they made that
sure?
afterwards. I'm almost positive.
I thought I remember seeing it at one point and thinking, okay, someday I'm going to use that. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a new addition. Plus, for anyone that actually wants to use that app, it is a paid-for app after a certain point of the 5K training.
Just
you can try out, I think, the first couple weeks.
A little thing right here. I was considering, like, would they tell on me if I ran through the grass right there? I was like, could I cheat a little bit right here? I didn't do it, but also I
feel like that goes against the spirit.
It does, right? And I mean, if you cheat on a part, like, how good are you really going to feel about your time at the end, knowing that it wasn't legit? Like, you basically just throw away your entire run.
Those few steps saved just make me feel absolutely wrong.
The only person that it makes sense for them to even consider cheating is like people fighting for first and second or something like that, you know? Because when you're
that's just time cutting then.
yeah. When you're back here, you're racing against yourself, really. Like that's the only thing that matters. Yeah. So Runkeeper, I did check. There is no referral bonus for it. I am going to put a link in the description though, because I do think it was a super valuable tool. And I'm not even sure if we would have actually done the 5K without it, right? Like it makes you
probably not, honestly. It's a pretty good like training thing. And then the best part about it is like you can stop paying for it after you're done with those training things and just do custom like training things without like the coach and everything. Just,
yeah.
like the robot voice, and like maybe you just want to time yourself and see how long you ran for.
True. Yeah, you can set up your own like training routines and stuff. It's pretty sweet. I haven't really made use of that, but it's awesome that it's there and available.
I like it because it also tracks like, oh, this is how well you did compared to your past runs, and this was your fastest run, this was like your best pace, all that.
True. So here comes the tunnel. We'll see if my GoPro goes crazy or not. Do you see what I mean already though about like how visually like varied this track is though? There's so much different stuff.
It is indeed. Maybe it's just like the general location of where you ran rather than the specific track. Like maybe it's just varied there in general and they managed to pick out a bit cherry pick some good spots.
There you go.
Oh Jesus Christ. You'll have to find a way to fix that for the actual video. That's like unbearable.
You think so? I don't know if there is a way to fix it.
I don't even have epilepsy and I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure.
I'm not sure there is a way to fix that.
Is there a way to turn off the stabilization just for that tunnel?
Just for that tunnel? Probably not. No, I think it adds to the entire clip. I mean, I could probably do a cut around, but well, I suppose I could probably do that, huh?
Yeah, either that or maybe just speed it through it on the video.
That's fair. Well, if you're watching this post me editing it, maybe you have no idea what we're even talking about. Maybe that tunnel looked great to you, or maybe that tunnel doesn't exist for you too. Maybe that's possible. I don't know.
Maybe you made it even worse in the edit.
Maybe it's possible. So up here, there's like a couple of cars lined up, like trying to get out of this parking lot, and I low-key kind of felt bad for them because I can tell that they have been sitting there for a second, and they're probably staying there for a bit longer. I think one of them starts actually going in reverse and looking for another way out.
Yeah, they're gonna be waiting a while because you're just like the start.
Yep, these guys just chilling.
At what point do you think they're just like, all right, I'm just gonna run someone over?
Well, there were luckily no casualties, so at no point did they do that.
The runners were just smart enough to dodge the car.
So, I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that I was thinking during the run and after the run when I was driving home as to things I would have done differently within the training period that we had, and also just within the morning of the race that I would have done differently to set myself up in a better place. I want to preface that by saying that ultimately the biggest issue was I should have trained harder, should have trained more to do better, right? Like, none of the small things that I'm going to point out are like excuses. They're just small nitpicks and like mid-maxing things that I think I could have done better to have gotten a better result. So first thing is I made the really poor decision of thinking that I could eat a Dairy Queen burger really early in the morning because the race wasn't until 5 p.m. and that it would be fully digested and not be an issue.
Do this to yourself?
Yeah, it was really dumb, right? Like, I just thought, okay, you know, this is like 7 hours before I'm supposed to race. I can eat something bad and be fine. I don't think that was a huge contributor. Like, I didn't have stomach issues or anything like that, but you know, it like what's the word? Inertia, right? Like, it can add to like your inertia a little bit, and it can just be
It shows how weak-willed you were that day.
I wasn't even weak-willed. I just needed food. I needed food. So I got that. That's one thing I would have done differently. What I should have done, actually, to go a little bit further, is I should have literally had my meals prepared and ready for the day. I should have had it pre-planned and ready. Actually, if I wanted to really mid-max it, I should have had my entire meals prepped for that entire week leading up, and just made sure that my body was like in the best possible condition from like a nutrition standpoint. That's definitely something I would have done differently. And actually, I don't really have an excuse for why I didn't do that. I guess I just didn't take the time and didn't plan it out. So that's something.
Think about it.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm going to necessarily do that for every race that I do going forward, but for any 10K and up that we do, I'm definitely going to go that extra bit and plan my meals for at least the week leading up. I think it's.
5Ks you can kind of get away with it.
5Ks you can get away with it. With 10K, I feel like you can't. I feel like you really need to get any sort of benefit that you can wherever you can get it. So that's one thing I would have done differently. Sleep was really good. I had my son the night before, and he was very gracious and allowed me to have a proper night's sleep without having to wake up to change him or feed him too much. So that was great. Sleep was not an issue during this race at all. That was good. What else would I have done different? Oh, so the previous 5K that we did before this, I had the issue where I had overhydrated, and I had that like watery, like moving up and down feeling throughout the entire race. Super uncomfortable. It was horrible. I was like, okay, so next race we don't drink that much. During this race, I did the opposite, and I didn't drink enough. So I thought I was actually going to be properly.
Which I find to be worse.
It's definitely worse. I could have gotten away with it if this were just a 5K, but and you'll see my drop in speed even more once we get to like the last mile or two. The lack of hydration definitely hit me hard. I drank at least a bottle of water and a Gatorade on my way to the event, so I was like relatively hydrated. But that wasn't enough. I went through it too quick too, as in my body did. Like my body just like burned that so quick. So that's definitely something I would do different. It's something I need to play around with a bit more too, to really figure out where the sweet spot is for hydration for my body, because I don't really know what the perfect amount is, and I feel like I can figure that out, you know.
I generally have like a full bottle of water about 20 minutes before the run, and then a tiny sip beforehand to make sure my throat's all nice and lubricated.
I get so worried about needing to run needing to pee during the run. That is something I fear.
Always go right before a run, because even if you think, oh, it won't be an issue, it will be an issue.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't have that at all this time. I mean, like I said, I was pretty close to dehydrated towards the end. At some point here, we're going to get a drink station. At this point in the race, actually, I was pretty confident that there wasn't drink stations for this race. Up ahead, you'll see there's a couple of kids in yellow, and this far back, I thought that they were giving out drinks. Once I see that that's not the case, this is pretty much where I gave up hope on there being a drink station. Luckily, that doesn't end up being correct, but...
You're going to be the casualty of that race, dying of dehydration.
Yeah, like at this point, having gone this far, never doing a 10K before, I was like, there's no way I'm not halfway by now. If there's no drink station by now, there must not be any. I ended up being wrong about both of those things. There were drink stations, and I wasn't halfway yet. So yeah, it's quite the haul. Quite the haul. As for other things that I would have done differently leading up to it, I made what I thought was a rational choice to switch from my t-shirt and shorts over to my sweatpants and sweatshirt, because it was pretty windy, pretty cold, raining when I got there, snowing at the start of the race. Turns out I would have been way better off to go far thinner in the clothes that I wore, just because... I mean, obviously, as you're running, you warm up a lot, and by the time I was done with the race, my back was literally soaked in sweat. Not to mention I had the GoPro strapped to my chest, so that just exacerbated the issue. In retrospect, if I could go back to the morning, I would have stayed in my shorts and my shirt, and I would have just been uncomfortable standing in line waiting for the race to start, knowing that the race would have been more comfortable. It's definitely something I would have changed. Or honestly, I would change if I could go back.
Always a good idea, unless it's like high winds, below freezing temps. Always shorts and shirt.
Yeah.
I don't think overdoing it is ever a good idea unless it's really, really cold.
Yeah, I really had it in my head that it was going to rain for majority of this race. I thought probably for all of it is what I had
the weather
imagined.
Said it was supposed to, so.
Yeah, so I thought I was being smart when it came to that. In retrospect, it ended up being more of a con than a pro. So that's something I would have done differently.
Honestly, even if it was raining, I think still having just the shorts and t-shirt would still been a bit better, because the rain would have weighed you down if it absorbed into the clothes, like heavier clothes that you were probably wearing.
That's true. By the way, right there, my playlist finally hit the last song, so I had to reshuffle it.
A rare event indeed.
Yes, actually, that reminds me. This is a very small nitpick of something that I would have done differently. But if I was able to go back to the morning of this race beforehand, I made the mistake, and maybe this doesn't even make sense as a mistake to people, but I listened to the same playlist while running that I listened to while I was driving there, and for whatever reason, just like hearing the same songs that I had just listened to for the last 2 hours just didn't really hype me like I needed, you know? So I feel
that's
like
a real thing. I also try and avoid that. Is like I save songs for like if I'm working out later in the day. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to this then.
Yeah, because you need it for the hype, right? If you burn it out too early, then it doesn't have as much effect on you. Yeah, so having a specific playlist made up for this race and not listening to any of those songs on the way there, as small and maybe as strange as that might sound to some people, is definitely something I would do differently if I could go back. trying to think if there's anything else that I was thinking of. I came up with all of these on my ride home from the race, just thinking like what could I have done differently. So the other thing, I didn't even mention this. So I posted on Facebook before the race that my main goals for this race were to try and finish. Oh, this is the MVP grandma right here that I was talking about. This lady is insane. She keeps that pace the entire time, and you'll watch her completely lose me over time.
You just have the excuse that she had more time to train and she was probably lighter weight.
Yeah, I mean, VIP grandma, man. She MVP grandma rather. She just owns it.
She's got the VIP outfit though.
She does. She has the VIP outfit. As I was saying though, on Facebook I posted that my 2 goals were to try and get under an hour and to try and run the entire race without having to take a walk break. I did succeed at not taking a walk break, as you've seen so far. No walking. I've stayed consistent with my run. I do think that was to the detriment of my other goal, though. I do believe that if I would have taken small 30-second breaks to walk, and you see a lot of other people do that, who obviously ended up with better times than me, I probably could have trimmed probably 7 to 10 minutes off of my time, to be honest, because I don't think I would have lost so much pace on the last 2 miles. So though I did succeed at keeping a consistent run throughout this race, that's not what I'll be doing next time. Next time I will allow myself to take a couple of seconds to walk if I need to get my energy back, so I can get back at it full pace instead of just kind of running off fumes.
It's honestly something I tell most people that are getting into running is that they won't feel like they're improving for a long time. But instead of paying attention to how long or how fast you're running in the beginning, pay attention to how fast you're recovering while walking and
True.
able to go back to running.
True.
I think that's where you first start to see improvement.
True. And I am at the point too with my running physicality where I'm able to run slowly and regain energy, which is something I didn't have the capabilities of doing when I first started. But when it comes to a race this long, that just wasn't very it wasn't enough. I needed to walk to actually get energy back. This is the actual first drink station up here too. So this, as far as I know, is the halfway point.
I mean, looking at the time, that seems accurate.
Yeah, I actually, after this, I look at my watch and I think, damn, it's been more than 30 minutes. That's not good. That means I'm not on pace.
Imagine if that was just the quarter of the way through. I like how they handed you the drink as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of MVPs, these guys right here keeping traffic off of the runners the entire race, like, awesome. Awesome. That has to be such an annoying job, right? To like wait for the runners to stop, or wait for the runners to not be crossing, and then let the traffic by, and then stop all the traffic. And oh man, that just doesn't sound fun. Mile 3 right there.
Nice.
So we are halfway. So I'm feeling a little bit better at this point. At this point, I got the water in me. I'm like, okay, I feel not like a zombie anymore, at least. MVP grandma's still just gone.
I mean, you can see her way over there.
Yeah. Yep, she's up there. I got to take back too. I think before I said when I was watching this played back that I thought my GoPro was aimed too low. I think it actually isn't too bad. I think maybe just a little bit up would have been better for positioning, but it's not too horrible.
Honestly, I think it's just fine.
Do you? So I think we're coming up on this spot. So something I noticed on the Eau Claire Marathon Facebook leading up is that they were really concerned about the river flooding. I guess there was a lot of the areas on the track that were overflowing at some point. And I remember seeing a post where they were talking about how they were finally receding a bit, and the track was going to be workable. Oh, I thought we were coming up on one of those river crossings, but not quite. So this spot right here is really interesting. This is where you get to see the people running back. So this is how far ahead you can tell that some of these people are at this point. And these are people that you've seen pass me at one point, and now they...
Yeah, I swear I saw a blue shirt guy that just went by.
Possible. So this goes on for a little while before they actually turn around. So the people you're seeing pass me on the right here, they're far ahead of me.
Oh, there's the blue shirt girl that passed you forever ago.
Yeah, they are far ahead of me. Like, I would say 45 seconds, a minute ahead, maybe more. Probably more, actually. Probably closer to a minute 30, 2 minutes.
No, I think there was a huge missed opportunity for everybody that crossed this bridge. Y'all should have been high-fiving the whole way.
Oh, you're funny. Ain't nobody got energy for that.
Nothing would have been better than just like a line of people high-fiving each other and then high-fiving the new people on the way back and just keeping that chain going.
So keep an eye out for MVP Grandma. This is the first MVP Grandma. There she is.
Oh my god.
Yep, she's ahead. She's doing great. Super, super inspirational, right?
Keep up that
like,
running.
To still be that fit, man. I hope that's me one day. Is that a pizza box right there? I didn't even notice that before.
Someone got hungry while running, dude.
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, I didn't mention that before, so I don't know if you just heard that, but that was a little burp I had there. I had like a little bit of like some like gas or like acid problems that would crop up here and there. I probably attributed to the burger, right? It wasn't affecting me too badly, but
burger and probably the lack of water as well.
Yeah, that messed with me a little bit. There was a couple of times I had to slow down for just a little burp real quick. Once I got it out, I was good. I think our other MVP is coming up over here. By the way, I don't mean to call her MVP Grandma in like a derogatory way. She's just older and a badass.
I don't even know how that would be derogatory.
Well, sometimes people say, they'll call you like grandma or grandpa or something, and it's they mean it in a... There can be some negative connotations to it depending on how you say it.
It's like calling someone a boomer.
I'm not really sure if that comparison really works, but I guess.
It's probably as close as you can get.
So these girls, I end up trying to keep pace with for a while, and I succeed for a while. But, see, she got called out right there.
That's funny.
I keep pace with them for a little while, but they do eventually lose me. Once they do lose me, once I stop keeping pace, that's where I get real thirsty. That's where that's where I start realizing, like, or I start getting like a film over my lips. I start to notice, and like my lips get real dry, and I'm just like, oh snap. Right now I'm doing good, but once they start losing me, you know that I'm getting thirsty, real thirsty.
I'm sure that sounds really weird out of context if you think about it, but I'm sure you could have licked some grass or leaves. Probably had some moist mildew for you.
Yeah, there is no world where that happens. Interesting advice. I don't think I'll be taking it. Yeah, I guess we'll.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, bro.
I don't think I was necessarily that desperate, but yeah, we did our best. We did our best. So, another thing I want to mention. So, I don't actually have footage all the way to I can speak the finish line.
Yo, usually it's me with the speech impediment. What happened?
I know. Well, so we're a little bit different, right? I just mess up my words and then stop. You normally continue with it, whether or not the word is a real word. A real word. Wow. Whether it's a real word or not.
Is you're still continuing whether or not it's a real word.
I was. Did you just do the same thing?
I can't speak. I'm laughing too much.
Oh man. What was I even originally saying before we got sidetracked there?
I have no idea.
Oh yes. So my battery did not last the entire time. So something I'm going to have to plan for future 10Ks is to basically get good at swapping enduro batteries during the race, whether that means doing it while running or taking a quick 10-second walk to switch it. Basically, I'm going to have to do like what people do in the gun range with their gun and just get really good at being able to switch enduro battery magazines in my GoPro, because it's the second time that she's died on me before I'm ready for it to be done. So I'm going to have to prepare for that a little bit better. Not a big deal in the 10Ks or the 5Ks rather. Obviously those are short enough that I have enough battery life for it, but I'm gonna have to get a couple more additional enduro batteries and get good at the magazine swap.
Gonna have to have like a NASCAR pit stop in the middle of the race with someone with like a new battery that like swaps it in record time for you,
or just getting really good at swapping it while running.
Someone's got to run up next to you, swap it for you, so your run doesn't get interrupted, and then they like dip out.
The thing is if you just quickly turn the thing on the chest strap so that the GoPro hangs down a little bit, but it's still fully attached, you can pop out the enduro and pop in a new one, and then seal it back up. Pull the GoPro back up, and then wind the thing back, and it'll be fine. The real thing is just making sure you don't drop one of the batteries while you're doing that. I thought that this was a really pretty
like
spot.
Worst case scenario.
I thought this was really pretty over here. This is also one of the areas where it was very clearly flooded a couple of days beforehand. So good thing we were able to actually run on this track successfully. This is where they're...
It's kind of scary to think like living next to a river that can just flood the entire surrounding area.
True. Kind of looks like they're building a Walmart or something right there too. It's pretty big.
Better have an aquarium section for those flooding.
This is where those girls start pulling away from me too. It's where I'm starting to slow down. I'm starting to get real thirsty. Also back at the water table that we were first at, I had assumed that was halfway. I didn't actually see the 3-mile marker that I pointed out during the video. I didn't actually see that during the race, so I wasn't 100% sure that was halfway. And having never ran a 10K before, I didn't actually know how long they felt. So I wasn't necessarily sure where I was the entire time, like in terms of how much longer I had left. So there was a lot of time, not quite yet, but a little ways up where I'm starting to think, is it going to be done around this corner? Are we going to be done around this corner? And it's not until I see the 5-mile mark that I know where I'm at and when it'll be done.
That you still have quite a bit more to go.
Yes. Also, I want to point out pretty soon here, this dude is going to just zip past me. And at first I was like, holy giga Chad. But then I realized he's not actually a competitor, and he was just, I guess, running, as exercise and lives around here or something.
Pure coincidence.
Yeah, he just runs right off the track and off somewhere else. So at first I was incredibly impressed, but then I realized, oh, he's not a competitor. He hasn't been running the 10K, so less impressive.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of funny to do, is just like show up to like a full marathon, halfway through, just sneak your way onto the track for a bit, run full sprint, and then disappear off the track. So everyone that you ran past just thinks you're amazing that you're halfway through a marathon running full sprint.
I mean, if I didn't see him run off the track, that's what I would have thought, because he totally seemed like a giga Chad. He just whips right past me. And if he, man, and I know that there are runners that have the amount of energy that he has when he runs past me at this point during the race, that they totally do, but it's just quite impressive. I think he's coming up here. Yeah, because he runs up. Yeah, there he is. Yep, just gone. Just gone. At this point, I still thought he was a competitor. I was like, did he just purposely like start the race late so that he could see if he could pass literally everyone in the race? Like, what was the goal? And then he runs off to the side. I'm like, oh, I get it. Mile 4, I also didn't see that while I was running. So that might actually be a Giga Chad. I think he was actually a competitor, and he's pretty quick too. Also, I should also say, I don't mean Giga Chad in a derogatory sense either. I just mean that they are very athletic and a league above me. Actually, a couple of leagues above me. So I have to honor them with the title of Giga Chad. See right here, you can see this was clearly flooded beforehand. Yeah, it's some very high water level. So watching this video, is there anything that that changes your perception of a 10K at all? Like something that you're realizing now that you're going to do differently, not having ran one yet? I think you might be muted.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting push to talk. Train more.
Train more?
I mean, that's like the only tried and true way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like, that's ultimately what everything boils down to when it comes to this stuff is how much time you put in. But it's also a balancing act, right? Because if you overtrain, then you end up injuring yourself, sometimes permanently, right? Sometimes you end up injuring yourself to a point where you have, like, a reoccurring issue. So it's like it's a consistent balancing act you got to do.
Indeed.
So, the other thing I wanted to talk about is future plans. So, I know with you not being able to make it to this race that we're watching right now, you wanted to do at least a 10K before the end of the year, right? Before 2023 ends, you want to at least get one 10K down, right? Right? That's a goal for you.
That was the goal for this year. I'd be kind of ashamed if I didn't do at least one.
Yeah. So we just before we started filming this realized that Madison has one in November. So I think that looks pretty good to me for a good 10K to end the year with. That'll get you your one 10K. Maybe we'll do another one in between now and then. So hopefully the Madison Marathon will do. What do you think realistically? I know we were talking at the start of the year of this is going to be the year of the 10K and the next year we're going to do a half. Do you think that's really going to happen? I don't know if we're going to pull a half next year. I think we might need another year on the 10Ks.
What'll probably end up happening is rather than doing a half marathon is we'll do more obstacle course ones, like maybe 10K obstacle courses, I think is a good middle ground, and then half marathon the year after that.
That's fair. I feel like the OCRs don't really help you in the actual races, though.
Yeah, but like going from being able to run a 10K to doing a 10K obstacle course, I think will put you in a level of like mindset that you are quite physically fit and can start training for a half marathon.
That's fair. That's fair. So this is basically the start of where I start thinking that we're almost done. I was very much wrong. We were not even close to done. But I remember thinking that not around this corner, but around the house up on the next corner, that this has to be like the last stretch. I was pretty confident of it for a second, but
almost there, and then it isn't.
No, it definitely isn't.
I mean, if you really think about it, like, I used to feel like a 5K took forever, but now just doing normal training for a 10K, 5K feels like nothing in comparison, like, time-wise.
Agreed. And I wonder if at some point we're going to feel the same about 10Ks, right? Maybe when we do finally make that push over to halves.
Yeah, either half marathon, or if we ever do a full marathon, I'm sure a 10K will feel like nothing.
Oh, we are far off from a full marathon. But it's goals, right? It's goals to at least do one.
Bucket list.
Yeah. So at this point is where I start accepting that there is very likely not another water station and that I'm going to have to run the rest of this pretty dehydrated. I remember specifically thinking about that while I was running down this road.
You gotta learn how to use reverse osmosis with your body.
Right. Also, I was wrong. There is another water station.
Basically, the ultimate thing you learned is never assume anything, because you seem to be wrong about all those assumptions so far.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't know anything about a 10K. I didn't know how it felt. I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know anything. It was I learned a lot from running this, for sure. I learned a lot. And I'm 100% confident that I can at least chip away like 10 minutes of my finishing time next time I do one. Very confident in that. But I very specifically want to match it up to running hopefully the exact same course next year, so that I can really test myself, right? Because if I run a better time on another 10K on another course, that doesn't really mean a whole lot, right? It might just mean that course was easier for me. The terrain was better.
True.
You really have to test yourself.
It always feels better doing the same one, like the Run for Their Lives one. Like,
yeah.
You know the course, you know what to expect. Can you do it better?
Absolutely. Yep. And that's why I want to put a lot of preparation into doing this race next year. Lots of cheering up there.
Whoa, where's the bell ringing?
I think there are some bell ringings up there. So at this point, I would feel confident in saying that this is the longest I have ever ran straight without stopping in my whole life. Like already at this point.
Quite a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been running for what, almost an hour at this point. I haven't stopped at all.
Yep. I mean, even if it's slower running because everyone is passing you, apparently, it's still running.
True. It is still running. And everybody else is slow running too. I mean, that's how you get through it. It's just their slow running isn't quite as slow as mine, apparently.
Indeed.
That's the other thing too. I don't know if I would put it in the category of things that I would have done differently, but do you ever have those runs, like where you just feel like your body is really in tune and like your like your flow is really good, like your arms are like in the perfect movement, your legs are moving together perfectly, and you feel like you're using the least amount of energy for the speed that you're going?
Yeah, usually, no matter what kind of run it is, it usually takes me about 6 to 7 minutes to get warmed up and adrenaline starts to flow, and then my run really gets started. It's those first couple, like 6 minutes, that are tough to get through.
Yeah, during this run, I only felt that a few times. I think my form was definitely a big problem. But I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know if I feel comfortable saying that that's something I would have done differently, because it was something I was aware of in the moment and I just wasn't able to change. So there were factors that were stopping me from being able to get into that like proper form where I was just running the most efficiently that I could. Maybe it was the burger, I don't know, but something.
At least you have. That's the real reason you got the burger. You have something to blame it on.
Right. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I wasn't able to really run the best. That the practice run that we had done before this, the 45-minute run that we did, that felt great. I was in like a perfect flow the entire time. It felt wonderful. I just couldn't quite get it in this one. I know a big thing too, and I didn't mention this at the start. Was this race? I definitely had more anxiety at the start than I did in any other race, just because there were so many people, and beforehand I was having a hard time figuring out where the exact starting spot was for my particular race, because I didn't know where the 5K was starting, if they started at the same spot. I was actually at the finish line originally. So there was a lot of things that kind of just like got my anxiety up. I also had to use the bathroom really bad beforehand. I had like 20 minutes before the race start. Luckily I was able to locate one, but I was a little concerned about that. So just a lot of anxiety. Not that that's like the biggest factor in the world, but it does take some of your energy, right? So it's definitely a factor.
I mean, I imagine there was like some nervousness with it being your first 10K. I feel like that's kind of inevitable.
That's true too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's scary, right? Like, you don't really know what you're getting into. With the training, you kind of have a good idea of it, but you don't actually know. I remember having the same anxiety the first time I did a 5K too, just thinking, okay, this is the actual thing that I've been like practicing for all this time, and what is this actually going to be like? There's a lot of nerves.
Yeah, going from the familiar place that you did all the training and running to a whole new course, not knowing where the turns are going to be, where, like, how other people are going to be doing in comparison. It's a lot.
Yeah, I almost feel like the OCRs had me the most anxious because oh, hold on, my computer. Yeah, my computer did some stuff there. I almost feel like the OCRs had me the most anxious, because not only are you running a course that you're not sure the length of and stuff like that, but you can actively embarrass yourself, right? Like, there are so many different ways to make yourself look dumb at an OCR. Obviously, most people aren't actually watching you; they're doing their own thing. But there's definitely,
unless you fail spectacularly,
which is possible.
Center of attention.
Yeah, so there's a lot of extra anxiety, I feel like, for the OCRs, just because they've got you doing these obstacles, and there are ways to really embarrass yourself a bit. So when it comes to that, I think the solid runs are definitely a little bit less nerve-wracking than the OCRs, but they're different beasts entirely. And here we go up here. That's the mile 5. That's where I realized, oh, we're not done yet.
Oh, there's quite a bit left.
Yeah, I have at least a mile point 2 to go. For a little while here, I was really competing, trying to pass this lady, because she kept on walking until I get caught up to her, and then she'd start running again. And I was like, I need to pass her. Eventually, I give up, and she just disappears. But I tried for a little while.
There was an attempt made.
Yes. So, while we're at this point, we will go over my numbers again. My not so great numbers. But I want these to be documented. I want them to be listed because I want to be able to watch this next year while I'm editing the follow-up video of running it again next year and completely destroying my time. And I want to be able to point out that I destroyed my own time on every single one of these metrics. So it's important that they're documented properly. So my finishing time was 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 5 seconds. That gives me an average pace of 12 minutes and 15 seconds per mile. My age graded percentage was 35%. My overall place, so overall that's including all age groups, both men and women. There was 332 competitors. I got 282nd place. So not great. Sex place. So out of all of the males, there were 130 males. I was the 120th. Once again, not great. For age group, so that would be the males from 30 to 39. There were 44 males within that age group, and I was the 39th. Once again, not great.
Attempt was made.
Attempt was made, yes. So the other important stats here, so it does say that I was 28 seconds past the past 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock started the race. I was 28 seconds from my chip crossing the starting line. Oh, interesting. So this actually has some different stats I didn't see before. So it actually has my overall... Hold on. I want to make sure I'm understanding this. It has my overall place as 151 out of 332. I wonder if that's when considering start time variation. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'll have to look at that a bit more. I'll have it on the screen in the video that I post. But other important stats here. So, oh no, down here it does say overall 282nd out of 332 for overall. So that is definite right there. So start to finish, it says you passed one runner in the overall category. I'm not sure who it was that I passed.
I'm sure if someone is dedicated enough to go through this entire video to see if there was one person that you passed that didn't pass you later.
Yeah, and that might be. You were passed by 130 runners in the overall category. And
look, there goes one now.
There goes one now. Yep, there goes one now. Yeah, once again, not great. Also not surprising. This race absolutely humbled me. But it also was inspiring, and I definitely want to do it again and try and do a lot better.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. So we have a bit more that my GoPro is able to catch before its early demise. Yeah, at this point I'm still just I have fully accepted that I'm not getting anything to drink until the race is finished. At this point I'm thinking about how much I'm going to drink once we're finished. I ended up drinking literally 2 full water bottles once we finished. When you cross the finish line, they hand you a plastic bag. I didn't even look to see what was in it. Instantly, I saw a lady at a table full with a bunch of water bottles. I asked her how much they were. She's like, "Oh no, take one." So I had 2 water bottles. Once I realized I had another one in my bag, and I just literally chugged them both. I needed it so bad.
Yeah, thirsty.
Yeah, and normally when I run a race, normally I don't feel sore until the following day. For this race, I sat in the grass, drank my water, and when I stood up, I instantly was just so sore. At that point, I was like, okay, I have a 2-hour drive home. We're leaving. I took one last glance over at like all of the festivities and stuff, and I was like, no, it's not worth limping through. So yeah, next year we go earlier, try and enjoy the event a bit more. before being absolutely demolished by the race.
Also, by the way, I looked at the Run for Their Lives 5K. It says it's on June 3rd, so you might want to double check that.
I thought you looked it up earlier.
I did, but that was also like one of the things that showed us June 3rd, so I wasn't sure. Google can be wrong.
That's what I mean. I remember seeing both dates too, so I'm really unsure. We'll have to do some research after this and find out. I also plan on obviously GoProing that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, my registration thing actually says June 3rd, so I'm not sure what the other date was for. Maybe they're having it
previous year or something?
Possibly. For anyone that lives in this area somehow and is watching this video, feel free to stalk us and join that race.
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to join us in our race adventures. We don't have much in terms of a running community as of now, but I'm definitely not opposed to building one.
You can show up wearing matching outfits and everything.
Yeah, you know, I was actually thinking about that. I don't know if you saw him at the start, but there was a guy that was wearing like a Yeti costume, and I was thinking, man, it would be fun to do one of these races wearing like some sort of funny costume.
You could show up as the whole Justice League or something.
Something. One of these days, maybe a 5K, since we've kind of gotten to the point where we can do those properly now. Maybe at some point we'll add a little bit of difficulty to it and throw a costume on as well.
But we gotta take it very seriously. Like, no jokes with the costume. We are that character.
Yeah, I want to run in a full like movie like Spider-Man costume. That would be dope.
I don't know how much running in a mask would be like.
Oh, not fun. I mean, the dude in the Yeti costume had a full mask on.
Damn, dude, that's some dedication.
Yeah, and that's not even like a Spider-Man mask where it like hugs your skin. Like, it was like, probably loose and wiggling all around, and yeah, that was probably horrible.
That's commitment.
True. So up here, I get a huge surprise, and there's actually a water station. I take out my earbud to hear, and I didn't catch that what the guy is trying to tell me is that the cup that he has Gatorade in it. So I get Gatorade. Not that there's anything wrong with Gatorade necessarily, but I definitely think I would have been better off if I had grabbed a cup of water instead.
Just not what your body is used to consuming mid-run.
True. So, the other thing I want to point out is that up ahead here, I'm going to run past a trash can, and it is going to fall over, and I just want it to be known that I did not knock over the trash can. The wind did it.
Poor timing.
Yes, I watched this back, and I was like, why in the video does it also look like I knocked it down? Because while I was running, I was like, oh man, all those people probably just turned back and thought I knocked it down. But I didn't. If the wind knocked it down.
What's that? Gatorade's first, water second.
Worst part is like, even if you went back to pick it up, it would have looked like you knocked it down.
Yeah, and you'll see. It's right here. It's right here. Yep. It's this guy right here. I did not knock it down. It was the wind. I didn't even touch it. I literally did not make contact. But it looks like I did.
The disrespect, bro. How could you do that?
Bro, I know. It looks like I did.
Honestly, like, the way you slowed down and everything, it looks like you stopped to knock it down and then went to go.
I know. So, we're getting close to where the video cuts out, where my GoPro dies. If you look to the right there, you'll see those bridges over there. You had to run across that bridge, and then there was a long road to the finish line. So we're super close to the end here. My GoPro was so close to making it all the way through. Didn't quite get there. But Yeah. It would have been awesome to have footage for me actually crossing the finish line. They had this awesome setup where your tag in your bib would show up on the computer, so they would literally like over the mic say your name and where you were from and congratulate you for crossing the finish line. It would have been cool to have the footage of that, but my enduro next year, yeah, my enduro just couldn't make it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Anyone, especially if you've made it this far and you're actually watching the end of this video, thank you so much.
Or if you skip to the end just to see if there was a cool ending for
yeah,
line.
Yeah, I'm sorry there is not.
It didn't get picked up.
Yep, I'm sorry there is not. I will continue to post more run videos. Hopefully I improve during them. Hopefully I'm better over time. We'll see.
And for those of you that are here from the shoveling video, next winter there will be plenty of that.
Yes,
content.
More shoveling videos. They're coming.
That happened to be like the last like snowstorm for the winter, so there wasn't able to be a part 2.
Yeah, part 2 coming next winter. Just wait. Yeah, thank you Cole for assisting me in the commentary.
No problem. I'm sure plenty of people are watching just for me.
Yep, your fangirls.
I like how you said plural.
Yeah, you have to have, well, you don't just want one fangirl, right? That's just a girlfriend. Fangirls means you're a rock star, right?
I suppose that's true.
Here we go. Yep.
The climactic finale.
Yep, that is where it dies out. So yes, once again, thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. As all of the people who post on YouTube, all the YouTubers say, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. It doesn't necessarily help me because my channel is small and not monetized, but it does make me happy. I do see the likes and the comments, and it makes me smile. So if you want to do that for me, that would be great.
And again, for those people that skipped to the end, you may have missed Zion knocking over a trash can, so you'll have to watch the video to find that.
Allegedly. This has not been proven in a court of law. But yes,
not yet.
Thank you to Eau Claire Marathon for hosting an amazing event. I'm glad I was able to take part. And yeah, have a good one.